Yes, yes. Assalamu alaikum. Um, all right, so I think most people are seated. There are a lot of brothers on this side. Brothers, please take a seat. Check, you're ready. You have somebody who is, yeah. Okay, so inshallah, today we're very lucky the Sheikh will do the Quran recitation and he will also give us the halaqah. So please give him your maximum attention. Parents, if you could take care of the kids so we could bring the noise level down so we could all enjoy it, inshallah, that would be great.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام را تلك آيات الكتاب المبين. إنا أنزلناه قرآنا عربيا لعلكم تعقلون. إنا أنزلناه قرآنا عربيا لعلكم تعقلون. نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين. نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت من قبله لمن الغافلين. إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت 11 كوكبا إني رأيت 11 كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir. Inshallah, my respected brothers and sisters in Islam, my topic today for the Friday night Halaqah, inshallah, will be what are some of the benefits and fawaid and ibrah that we could all benefit from Surah Yusuf. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, لَقَدْ كَانَ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ عِبْرَةٌ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. And the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed these stories in the Quran, from the story of Yusuf to Ibrahim to Musa to Noah, and all the stories that Allah mentioned in the Quran, is for us to take an ibrah, which is a lesson, something that we could use in our daily life. That is the reason why Allah narrates this story to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and He narrates this story to us. And usually, I'm a big fan of storytelling, and growing up as a kid, my mom would tell me a lot of stories. Some stories did make sense. Some of the stories, I don't know where she got it from, but somehow I was just interested in the story. But when it's come to the story that Allah mentioned in the Quran, this is the true story. There is always a point that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to draw our attention to. As Allah said to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, نَحْنُ نَقُصُّ عَلَيْكَ أَحْسَنَ الْقَصَصِ. O Ya Rasulullah, we are going to reveal to you the best of stories. And there is no other story than the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala coming from Allah to Jibreel to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You know for sure there is no defect in this story. So inshallah, my main point tonight, inshallah, is for us to derive some benefit that we could all apply to our life on a daily basis as Muslims and as families, inshallah. But before I get started, inshallah, I'm going to throw a question back to the audience, inshallah. How many times did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mention Yusuf in the Quran? Does anybody know? Any idea? How many times did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mention Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam in the Quran? Any guess? 3? No, that's too low. 15? Too low. 27, mashallah, mashallah. 27 times that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam in the whole entire Quran. The second question, inshallah, I have before we get to our lesson, did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mention Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam 27 times in the whole entire surah to Yusuf? Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mention Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam in the whole entire surah? Yes or no? No? Yes? No? Okay, inshallah. So in Surah Yusuf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned 25 times in the surah. 25 times Allah mentioned Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam in Surah Yusuf. The rest of the two, one is in Surah Al-An'am, وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِهِ دَاوُودَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ وَأَيُّوبَ وَيُوسُف. One is in Surah Al-An'am, and the other one is in Surah Al-Ghafir. وَلَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ يُوسُفُ مِنْ قَبْلِ. So in total we have 27, 25 in Surah Yusuf, one in Surah Al-An'am, and one in Surah Al-Ghafir. In total 27, inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, in the first ayah, when Yusuf alayhi salatu was salam, he had a dream As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, إِنِّي رَأَيْتُ أَحَدَ عَشَرَ كَوْكَبًا وَالشَّمْسِ وَالْقَمَرِ رَأَيْتُهُمْ لِي سَاجِدِينَ. So Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, he had a dream that the 11 stars, the moon, the sun, they have prostrated to him. When he had this dream, he went to his father and he told his father this dream. The ulama, there's a lot of benefits that we could take from this first ayah. What happens if you have a good dream? Do you keep it to yourself? Do you tell people? Do you tell the people that you love, people that you trust? What happens if you have a bad dream? Do you tell people? Do you make dua? What are some of the things that you could do if you have a bad dream or a good dream? The ulama have a saying, when Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, when he had this dream, he went to his father because he trusted his father. He knew his father was a prophet, and he knew his father will have good thoughts, and he will give him an insight or probably advise him in regards to what he has to do with this dream. As Muslims, the ulama have a saying that when you have a good dream, there's nothing wrong with telling people that you trust. Somebody that you have complete trust, they have good thoughts about you, you respect their intellect. There's nothing wrong with telling them that dream. Not with the intention that they have to interpret that dream to you. You could tell them, last night I had a dream about this. It was a good dream. The least they could do is to make dua for you. You have a good dream. There's nothing wrong with telling your mom or your dad or your grandma with the intention that they only make dua upon this dream. So you have a dream, you tell your mom, I had a good dream yesterday, I was in Jannah, example. The least you could do is, inshallah, may Allah make it a reality. When you have a bad dream, the ulama said, you make dua and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you from this dream. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us in the beautiful hadith, good dreams are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and bad dreams are from shaitan. And when you have a bad dream, you get up in the middle of the night, say, A'udhu billahi min shaitan al-rajim, A'udhu billahi min shaitan al-rajim, and then you go back to sleep. And then make dua, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect you from this dream. There's a lot of misconception in regards to dreams, whereby we have a lot of people that try their best to interpret dreams. They have bad dream, they go back to their teachers or their parent or their grandparents to try to explain this dream for them. For you to be on the safer side, just make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have a very bad dream, make dua Allah protect you from that dream. You have a good dream, make dua Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it a reality. That is much safer from you, inshallah. Next benefit, inshallah, we will take from Surah Yusuf is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded us again when Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam spoke to his father about the dream. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said from Prophet Yaqub, لا تقصص رؤياك على إخوتك فيكيدوا لك كيدا. The father advised Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, do not relate or do not tell this dream to your brothers. Do not tell them this dream. Do not tell them this insight that you had in your sleep, because they're going to plot against you. They're going to have jealousy towards you. They're going to try to do something evil to you. Inna shaytan lil insan aduwwun mubin. Indeed, shaitan is an enemy to mankind. SubhanAllah, in this ayah, there's a lot of benefits that we could take and lessons we could take from this surah, and this ayah specifically. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, when he had a dream, he told his father. And his father told him not to tell his brothers. They were from the same father. They had the same father together. But the father himself is telling Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam not to tell the brothers regarding this dream. The ulama said on this ayah, the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam had so much jealousy towards their brother. And this could happen to you. You could have a brother, same dad, same mom, but they might have jealousy towards you. So this is why it's very important as a Muslim, you make dua constantly and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect your heart from jealousy. You might have a brother or a sister or your cousin. You guys grew up together. He's making a lot of money. You're not making a lot of money. You bought the first house. He didn't buy a house. He went to college. You didn't go to college. Jealousy could start from that angle. And what the Mufassirin said on this ayah, it was not like the father of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was showing even more favoritism to Yusuf. He was not doing that. The brothers just knew that there was just something good about this kid. And the father just loved him because he was still young. So there was nothing for them to be jealous about. In reality, if you think about it. But the ulama said, Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, he had a special talent. And automatically the brothers just they did not like him for some reasons. That could happen to me, that could happen to you. And all the time, we get a lot of brothers and sisters, Sheikh, I don't know what I did. She just doesn't like me. She's not supposed to like you. People are built like that. They just don't like people. You didn't do anything to her. You didn't do anything to him. You just mind your business. But they have jealousy towards you. As a matter of fact, you have no idea they exist. But somehow they have so much jealousy towards you and your family. Another benefit, inshallah, we could take from this ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Inna shaytana lil insani aduwwun mubin. Indeed, shaitan is the greatest enemy to mankind. A couple of weeks ago, I gave a halaqah over here and I was asking people, raise your hand if you have an enemy. Raise your hand if you have an enemy in here. Raise your hand if you have an enemy. Everybody, please raise your hand. Everybody raise your hand. Okay? Allah just said it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, Inna shaytana lakum aduwwun fattakhidhuhu aduwwa. Indeed, shaitan is an enemy, so take him as an enemy. This is the greatest enemy that you have in this dunya, a shaitan. Because Allah said so. And a lot of times we think, she's my enemy, he's my enemy. No, the greatest enemy you have in this dunya is a shaitan. Because he made a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he's going to make sure he destroy every single one of us and lead us astray. So that should be your focus every single day. Don't think of your best friend, your auntie, your cousin, that's your enemy. No, don't do that. Shaitan should be the focus because Allah said so. Shaitan is an enemy, so we should take him as an enemy too. So every single one of us, we have enemy. And the greatest enemy we have is a shaitan. So every single day we have to make dua and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from shaitan. Another point, inshallah, we could take from this ayah, what the ulama have said, inshallah, is about jealousy. I want to go back about jealousy, a little bit. A lot of time, Imam al-Ghazali said, some people would say, I don't have jealousy in my heart. I'm clean, my heart is so pure. I don't have no jealousy. Imam al-Ghazali said, you might not have jealousy because you don't have a common interest. Like for me, I might not be jealous of somebody who play cricket because I don't play cricket. So I don't even know what that means, right? But I want to make it to the NBA one day, inshallah. And I'm not even joking. I'm serious about this, inshallah. Right? And Inshallah, I'll make it to the NBA one day, inshallah. If I have, if I have a couple of my friends that are making it to the NBA, if I'm not very careful, I'm going to have jealousy towards them. Because I have a common goal. So Imam Ghazali said, check yourself. Don't say you don't have jealousy. It's just a matter of time. When you have that same sister that you guys are competing on the same exact stuff, that's when that jealousy will come. When you have the same brother, you guys were graduated from college together. He bought his first house, second house. You didn't get a house yet. You got to be very careful from that angle. Because Imam Ghazali said, jealousy will start when you have a common goal towards something. So you might say, you know what, I'm not jealous. I don't have no jealousy. I have a very clean heart, because you don't have a common goal with that person. When you start having a common goal towards your friends, if you're not very careful, jealousy will come towards you. Another thing, inshallah, I would like to add regarding jealousy. Imam Ghazali said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah An-Nisa, أَمْ يَحْسُدُونَ النَّاسَ عَلَى مَا آتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, how are you jealous of something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed his servants? So, if you know you have jealousy in your heart, one of the cure of jealousy is to think of the fact that this came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you are jealous towards them, it's like you're fighting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah gave it to them. They didn't get all this great stuff in their life because they are smart. No, Allah gave it to them. So if you have jealousy towards something that somebody has, you are basically fighting with Allah Azza wa Jal, because Allah gave it to them. And Imam Ghazali also mentioned one of the ways of curing jealousy is when you see your sister or when you see your friend having khayr, if you say, MashaAllah, Tabarakallah, Allahumma barik, go up to them and congratulate them. That will actually cure the jealousy that you have. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from jealousy. Another thing, inshallah, I would like to add regarding jealousy. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in the Quran, when Allah grants you a ni'mah, there's nothing wrong with actually showing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala you are grateful about this ni'mah. There's nothing wrong with showing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, I'm grateful for the ni'mah that you have given me. I'm grateful for the house that you have given me. I'm grateful for the wealth that you have given me. I'm grateful for the lifestyle that I'm living. Ya Allah, thank you. But you have to have a very fine line in terms of show off. Because sometimes we actually invite people to make jealous of the things that we have. Because you're showing enough. Every single thing you're going to show off. Every single thing, your house, your family, every single thing that you have, you post it on social media. You think everybody on that social media will have good intention for you? No. This is how evil eyes start. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you with something, there's nothing wrong with showing Allah that ni'mah. But you have to be very careful in regards to how much you show people. Because asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase you in the khayr that He has given you, there's nothing wrong with that. But when you show off every single thing that you have, you show to the people, you post it online, you let people know that you have this, you're actually inviting jealousy towards, an evil eye towards your family and the khayr that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from jealousy. Another benefit, inshallah, we take from the Surah Yusuf is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَجَاءُوا أَبَاهُمْ عِشَاءً يَبْكُونَ. When the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, they came to their father in the middle of the night crying. They came to the father crying in the middle of the night, telling the father that the wolf have eaten Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. The ulama said on this ayah, do not allow the crying of the one that is complaining to you deceive you. They knew they were lying. They knew they tried to kill Yusuf. But they came to the father crying. They came to the father crying and telling the father that the wolf had eaten Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. But they were crying constantly in the middle of the night, telling their father that we've lost Yusuf, knowing that they actually tried to kill Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Kathir rahimahullah ta'ala made a beautiful reflection on this ayah. He said, do not let the crying of the one complaining to you fool you. Perhaps he or she that's crying might be the oppressor. They tried to kill Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. But when they came to the father, they were crying and making it seem that it was not their fault. Every single day in this masjid, when we work with these kids, a lot of these kids come to me crying, Sheikh, this person, he slapped me, blah, 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 blah. And I check the camera, it's in the other, and it's not what it looks like. He actually started it. He actually started hitting him. But when they come up to me crying, I always have to, because of this verse, I always have to double check if he's not the oppressor. And most of the time, it goes back the other way. He actually started it. So this is a very beautiful benefit for us as families, as parents. We have kids. Always try to look from the other side too. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah Al-Hujurat, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, in ja'akum fasikum binaba'in fatabayyanu aw fatathabbatu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, who you believe? When the news comes to you, when somebody comes to you and then tell you something, investigate. Make time. Listen to the other side of the story. This brother comes to you, Shaykh Uthman, blah, 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 blah. Take your time. Call the other brother. Listen to the other story and then make a judgment. But this is the adl. This is just. This is what Islam wants, for you to be just. If you're not investigating, if you're not making fatathabbatu, you're going to make a wrong call. So when the father listened to them when they cry, he didn't say anything. This is what he said. This is what they said to the father. قالوا يا أبانا إنا ذهبنا نستبق وتركنا يوسف عند متاعنا فأكله الذئب وما أنت بمؤمن لنا ولو كنا صادقين. After they finished crying, they told the father, we left Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam with our clothes, and the wolf had eaten him. So they came to the father with a fake shirt with blood on top of it. Ibn Kathir rahimahullah ta'ala said in this ayah, he said usually when people lie, they don't think long term. They only lie just based on that little moment because they want to get out of that little situation. And if you think about it, they came to the father with a shirt with a fake blood on top of the shirt. If you think about it, how can a wolf make time to take the shirt from Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam and then eat him up? It doesn't make no sense. Because they came with a shirt. The shirt was not torn. Some of the ulama said the shirt was torn, Allahu alam. But if you think about it, what kind of wolf will make time to actually take the shirt out from Yusuf and then eat Yusuf up? It doesn't add up. So that's when the father knew that you guys are not thinking properly, because this doesn't make no type of sense. So when a person wants to lie, they don't usually think long term. They only think short term. So you, as the one that's listening, you have to evaluate and pay attention to the details, because there's certain things that he might not be able to pick up, you are going to be able to pick up. When they said that to the father, this is what he said to them. فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ وَاللَّهُ الْمُسْتَعَانُ عَلَى مَا تَصِفُونَ. This is my main point. The importance of sabr and tawakkul. The father at this point is very devastated. He was very devastated that whatever incident they said that happened to Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, he knew it didn't happen, but somewhere, somehow, they don't have Yusuf here. And this is what he said. فَصَبْرٌ جَمِيلٌ وَاللَّهُ الْمُسْتَعَانُ عَلَى مَا تَصِفُونَ. Allahu Akbar. Just look at the positive thinking of the father of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. He endured patience in that moment. And then he said, Wallahu al-musta'an. I only seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Based on what you are telling me, I'm going to wait until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows me the reality. In this ayah, there's three main points inshallah, I would like to advise myself about patience. There is three types of patience that every single Muslim should be mindful of. As-sabr. The first sabr, as-sabr fi ta'atillah. The first patience is having patience to be able to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Praying salah, reading your Quran, praying qiyamul layl, tahajjud. It's not easy. It is not easy. You have to have sabr to be able to worship Allah the way He wants you to worship Him, not the way you want to. So when you get up for Fajr, you have to have sabr to get up. When you pray in the middle of the night, you have to have sabr not to fall asleep. When you're reading Quran for long hours, you have to have sabr to be able to do that. Even the people of Jannah, when they enter Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Salamun alaykum bima sabartum. Peace be upon you on the patience that you have endured in the dunya. The sadaqah, you have to be patient to give out your money. This is the first type of sabr that every single Muslim should be aware of. As-sabr fi ta'atillah. The second type of sabr is as-sabr anil ma'siyah. Having patience not to disobey Allah. Having patience not to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like an example, you're watching TV and there's haram showing. You have to have sabr not to watch that. There's alcohol. Any type of haram, you have to have sabr on your nafs so that you don't act that evil thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not want you to do. The third type of sabr every single Muslim should be mindful of is as-sabr inda al-musibah. Patient when trials and tribulations comes your way. And this is the type of sabr that the father of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam had endured. He was patient because he lost Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. So he decided to be patient and wait until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes up to him. And at-tawakkul. After they made the lie, they came up to him with a different story. He had sabr, and then he said, Wallahu al-musta'an. I am only going to seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as a Muslim, we all go through trials and tribulations every single day in our life. The only person that is going to help you, for you not to lose your iman, for you to stay focused, is to go back to Allah. So every single one of us, whatever situation, whatever struggle, whatever trials and tribulations that Allah is throwing at us, you go back to Allah. Okay, He's the one that could take you out of that situation. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant khair. Another benefit, inshallah, we will take from the story of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam is the incident that happened between Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam and the wife of the Aziz. And subhanAllah, we usually try to focus on, she tried to seduce him, and then he ran, and then she ran, and then she closed the whole entire house. But it's a very, very important lesson that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to draw my attention and is trying to draw your attention. It's about gender interaction and the importance of having boundaries with the opposite gender. And this is something that we as Muslims, we take very, very, very light. We don't take it very serious. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us When the man and the woman are alone by themselves, the third person is a shaitan. So every single one of us, we have to ask ourselves, you should not be alone with somebody who you are not supposed to be alone with. This is very, very important. This is Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. He had the highest iman. But somehow he got caught up in this little confusion with the wife of the Aziz. This could happen to you. This could happen to me. This could happen to you, sister, because you don't have any iman or higher iman than Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. So this is something that we have to be very mindful of. As Muslims, the way we interact with the gender, we have to have a very important policy. We should not just allow ourselves to be hanging out in closed doors without supervision. This is not Islam. And this is not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to do. So a couple of weeks ago, and before Ramadan, usually when I come to the masjid, I will see some of the boys and the girls hanging out, playing, which irritates me every single time I see that. I try to tell them that this is not Islam. You are not supposed to be sitting down talking like that. Like, this is not Islam. This is not what you're supposed to do. People have to be around. So I did a little experiment. I had some of the sisters that I work with in this masjid that we teach on a daily basis. And I told them that, you are not supposed to be sitting or hanging out or talking with these guys every single day. You're not supposed to do that. Sheikh Uthman, no, it's not like that. It's not like, it's not like the way you think. He's my brother, he's my friend. I know him since first grade, blah, 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 blah. I said, I know. Since first grade, you guys live together. I get it. I know that. But you're not supposed to be doing that. I went to the other side of the boys too. And I said to them, brothers, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're not supposed to be hanging out with the sisters downstairs in the musalla, in the cafeteria, in the social hall, at the park, at the parking lot, just sitting down talking like that. You're not supposed to be doing that without supervision. He said, oh, Sheikh Uthman, it's not the way you think, she's my sister, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, stop it. Stop it. And I want you to be very honest to me. I asked them. The sisters on the other side said to me that, oh, Sheikh Uthman, he's just my brother, he's just my friend. When I pushed these boys, I asked them, you want to tell me you don't like this sister? I did ask them. It was 10 brothers. 6 of them said they like these sisters. This is what Allah is trying to teach us. The philosophy, the way he's thinking is different from the way you were thinking. This is where it starts. The same exact sisters that I asked about these specific brothers, they're telling me that, oh, Sheikh Uthman, he's just my brother. I knew him since first grade. He's a little kid. As a matter of fact, when I asked the same thing with the brothers, at first they told me, oh, Sheikh Uthman, she's just my sister. We knew each other from first grade. But when I pushed him a little bit, I asked him, you want to tell me you don't like none of this sister? And, Sheikh Uthman, I actually have a crush on her, but I never told her, blah, blah, blah. I said, astaghfirullah. This is exactly what Allah is trying to tell us. When the woman and the man is alone, the third person is shaitan. You are not smarter than shaitan. You are not. Because he's the greatest enemy. So in this surah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding us about the wife of the Aziz and Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, them being together at the house, it is not about them anymore, it's about us. Reflect upon ourselves and ask ourselves, how do we interact with the opposite gender? This is very, very important. There has to be a fine limit. When you have to talk, you have to talk. If you have to engage with them, you engage with them. But we cannot be socializing without supervision. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us, inshallah. Another point, inshallah, in Surah Yusuf that I think is very, very important is regarding the wife of the Aziz. She said, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي إِنَّ النَّفْسَ لَأَمَّارَةٌ بِالسُّوءِ إِلَّا مَا رَحِمَ رَبِّي. After she tried to get to Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, she made a claim. She said, indeed, my own evil soul has led me to do this. And the ulama from the tafsir of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned 3 different types of souls in the Quran. Souls that every single Muslim should be mindful of. Souls that every single Muslim should pay attention to themselves. Number 1, Ammaratun bisu, the evil soul, which every single one of us we have it. Every single one of us we have this evil type of soul. It pushes you to do haram. It pushes you to watch haram. It pushes you to neglect your salah and not pray on time and feeling laziness in your ibadah. This is something that every single one of us have. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam told us to make dua and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from this type of soul. Amaratun bisu, the evil type of soul. The second type of soul is an-nafsul mutma'inna. It's the good type of soul. Ya ayyatuha an-nafsul mutma'inna. This is the good type of soul. The soul that is driving you to come to the masjid. You read your Quran, you pray Qiyamul Layl, you fast Monday, Thursday, you give sadaqah, you don't backbite. This is the type of good soul that every single one of us has to strive for. And the third type of soul that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, وَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِالنَّفْسِ اللَّوَّامَةِ. This is the type of soul that is called the regretful type of soul. This is the type of soul that when you do something haram, and then you start feeling guilt. That, you know what? I was not supposed to be doing this. I should not be doing this. This is the type of soul that will bring you back for tawbah. You come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every single day. Ya Allah, forgive me. Astaghfirullah, atubu ilaik. Ya Allah, I watched haram yesterday. I shouldn't watch haram. Ya Allah, I was gossiping yesterday. I shouldn't gossip. Ya Allah, I was drinking alcohol. I should not. This is the type of soul that is very, very important, because this soul will bring you back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every single time you make a mistake. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, you have to make dua for you to have the regretful type of soul. Because without that, you cannot come back to Allah for tawbah. You know, we have some people that they do haram, they disobey Allah, they don't care, they don't come back for tawbah, they don't do anything, they just don't care. We have people out like that. They disobey Allah, they don't pray their salah, they don't do anything. Just haram, 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 and they don't care to come to the masjid to come make tawbah. They don't care. We ask Allah not to allow us to be among those type of people. Because we have people out like that. Their heart has been shackled. They don't feel any type of iman. They disobey Allah, they go to sleep. They drink alcohol, they go to sleep. They watch haram, they don't care to come back to Allah. And this is the type of soul that we have to constantly make dua to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to allow us to lose this type of soul. Because without that, you're not going to be able to come back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Finally, inshallah, the concept of forgiving people. When Yusuf alayhi salatu was salam finally saw his brothers, they didn't recognize him. But he knew who they were. He knew where they came from. When they finally realized that, Anta Yusuf, are you Yusuf? He said, yes, I'm Yusuf, I'm Yusuf. They started apologizing, asking for forgiveness. And this is what Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam said to them. لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. There's nothing to be blamed today. I have forgiven you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful of the merciful. I forgive you guys. Just imagine what they did to him at a very young age. Threw him in the well, thinking that he could die. After so many years, now he's become a king. and he's seen his brothers. But he said, Yaghfirullahu lakum. Allah has forgiven you, and I have forgiven you too. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. How many times do people really wrong us and we don't want to forgive? Your mom, your dad, your wife, your husband, your roommate, your cousin, your uncle from back home, your auntie from back home, they've done something for you, to you. Forgive them for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have done things that you want Allah to forgive you. Why can't you forgive people? You have things that you always cry in sujood, oh Allah forgive me, oh Allah forgive me, oh Allah forgive me, but you don't want to forget your fellow human being. You have bigger things that you have done to Allah Azza wa Jal. But He forgives. Why didn't you have a place in your heart to forgive your fellow brother and your fellow sister? وَلْيَعْفُوا وَلْيَصْفَحُوا أَلَا تُحِبُّونَ أَن يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. Why wouldn't you forgive and let it go? You have things that you have done to Allah that you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you. And regarding the concept of forgiving, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a special place in Jannah for people that forgive Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Al-Kadhimeen al-Ghayza wal-Afina anin nas. Al-Kadhimeen al-Ghayz is the type of person that you offend me, and I have the right to do something back to you, but I just let it go for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is hard to do that. It takes a whole different type of skill for somebody to offend you, and you just let it go just for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَعَفِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. You forgive people. You don't really spend a lot of time on a lot of issues. When people wrong you, khalas, I forgive you. This is the type of skill that we all have to learn. Forgive people for the sake of Allah. You have things that you have done that you want Allah to forgive you. And in regards to the concept of forgiving people, Allah does not wrong us. Wallahi, when somebody does something wrong to you and you decide to forgive them for the sake of Allah, knowing that they are wrong, Allah is going to pay you back. You might have done some big things that Allah didn't forgive it to you. But when you forgive people, Allah will forgive you too. Sometimes you forgive people and Allah give you khair in this dunya. So let us all learn the craft of forgiving people, because very, 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 very important. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us all. And finally, when the father of Yusuf alayhi salatu was salam, again, when Yusuf told them to go and then bring their brother, and then they came back with their brother, they came back to the father, telling the father that they couldn't bring the little brother back because he stole something from the palace of Yusuf alayhi salatu was salam. Now the father got sad again. And he said, إِنَّمَا أَشْكُو بَثِّي وَحُزْنِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. He said, I complain my grief and my sorrow and my pain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was in so much pain. He lost Yusuf. Now he lost the little one again. But guess what? He kept going back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, I complain my grief and my soul and my pain to Allah Azza wa Jal. Look at this kind of positive thinking that the father had. And it's a character that we should all try to strive for. Stop blaming people. A lot of time when things happen in our own way, or things don't go the way we plan, we start pointing fingers. She did this, he did this. If I did this, this will not happen. Go back to Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah does what He wants in the way that befits Him, according to His divine wisdom. You might not understand, but have the character of constantly going back to Allah Azza wa Jal. Limit the constant pointing of fingers to people. She did this, He did that. If I didn't do this, if I did this, no. Sometimes there's a reality, yes, you should have done certain things. Try to go back to Allah first. When something is bothering you, you're going through a very tough situation in your life, go back to Allah first. Complain to Allah. Go to sujood and pray and ask Allah, Ya Allah, this is my situation. Just like how the father did. He didn't blame them. He just said, Ashku bathi wa huzni ilallah. I'm going to complain my pain, my grief, my sorrow to Allah Azza wa Jal. And this is the character that every single Muslim should strive for. Whatever happens to you, you were trying to avoid something, somehow it got to you, go back to Allah first. Complain to Allah. Tell Allah the situation first before you start pointing fingers. Before you even, like a couple of days ago, I was having a discussion with one of my friends, and he was telling me, some of the things that he was going through. And I said, have you made dua up? He said, no, Sheikh. I'm like, so you're telling me what am I supposed to do? Go tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tell Allah the situation. Make dua. Raise your hand. Tell Allah exactly what's going on. And then you come talk to me. Maybe when you complain to Allah, Allah might give me an idea in regards to what I need to do with you. It's very, very important. Let us going back to Allah first. If you go through any difficult situation, just like how the father of Yusuf alayhi salatu was salam, Ashku bathi wa huzni ilallah. I'm going to complain my grief, my pain, and my sorrow to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 2 more points, inshallah. After Yusuf alayhi salatu was salam forgave them, there was something that Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam said that was so beautiful at the end of the surah. He said, "An nazagha shaytan bayni wa bayna ikhwati." After they came, the father, everybody got surrounded. He said to his father, do not blame them. This whole confusion that happened of them throwing me in the well, it was from shaitan. It was from shaitan. All this confusion, them throwing me in the well and trying to kill me, it is from shaitan. And that's what shaitan does. To break families. Break between a husband and a wife. A brother and his family, his cousin, half of his siblings. Shaitan will put confusion between families. And that's what he did with Yusuf and his brothers. See how Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was thinking? He didn't blame them. أَن نَزَغَ الشَّيْطَانُ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ إِخْوَتِي. Oh Father, this whole confusion that had happened between me and my brothers, and then they tried to kill me, it's shaitan. So when you start having issues in your home, think of shaitan. There might be things that the other person have done, but trust me, 99.9 is from shaitan. He is the enemy. She's not the enemy. Your wife is not the enemy. Your husband is not the enemy. Your sister is not the enemy. Shaitan is the enemy. So when it's a confusion, misunderstanding, hatred, look at the bigger picture. Ask yourself, what is shaitan trying to do to my family? Just like how Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam said, أَن نَزَغَ الشَّيْطَانِ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ إِخْوَتِي. This confusion, it's all from shaitan. So when we have confusion within ourselves, friends, family, husbands, wife, whatever you find yourself, think of a bigger picture as shaitan. He's the one causing all this confusion. And finally, inshallah, this is regarding the concept of good ending. And this is the last page in Surah Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Yusuf made a very beautiful dua. And I think every single Muslim, if you can, should memorize this dua. It's a very, very important dua. It has so many beautiful meanings in this dua. He said, فَاطِرَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ أَنْتَ وَلِيِّي فِي الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةِ توفني مسلما والحقني بالصالحين. Allahu Akbar. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam is making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's saying, Yo Allah, the creator of heaven and earth, you are my savior in this dunya and the akhirah. Tawaffani musliman. Oh Allah, let me die as a submissive Muslim. Wa alhiqani bis salihin. Oh Allah, allow me to be among the righteous people. Look at this beautiful dua. Wasn't Yusuf among the righteous people? Wasn't he a Muslim? Why is he making dua, asking Allah to make sure he die as a submissive Muslim? Asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow him to be among the righteous people. The ulama said it's not about how you start. It's about how do you end. How is your life going to end with Allah Azza wa Jal? That is the thing we need to be concerned about. It's not about how you start. You start off big sheikh, you have high iman, you do Quran. The beginning is good, but it's about the end. How are you going to end with Allah Azza wa Jal? Wallahi, this is something that we have to think about every single day. How was my ending going to be with Allah Azza wa Jal? And all the Prophet made the same dua. Ibrahim alayhi salatu was salam, Khalilullah, the best friend of Allah Azza wa Jal, he made dua. رَبِّ هَبْ لِي حُكْمًا وَأَلْحِقْنِي بِالصَّالِحِينَ. Oh Allah, allow my offsprings and allow me to be among the righteous people. This is Ibrahim alayhi salatu was salam. He's making dua, asking Allah, Ya Allah, let me die as a righteous Muslim. He's a prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal, not an average Muslim, a prophet of Allah. And they're making dua, asking Allah, Ya Allah, let us die as righteous Muslims. That's what's important. Allah, that's what's important. The end is what matters. Not how you start. The end. That's why we have to make dua. Every single day, asking Allah Azza wa Jal to allow us to die as Muslims. Yeah. That's what matters. Because don't take this as like an advantage. Wallahi, make dua. Allah allow you to die as a Muslim, and you meet Allah in a good state. That's what matters. Do not die until you are a Muslim. As Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, you could be a Muslim in the morning, in the evening you're not a Muslim. Ya Rabb. You could be a Muslim in the morning, by Isha you're not a Muslim anymore. Wallahi, you look at the stories of the Sahabas and the people that came after the Sahabas. Some of them did not die as Muslims. Wallahi, they had higher iman than us. They were righteous Muslims. They pray Qiyamul Layl every single day, but wallahi, their ending was not good. This could happen to me, this could happen to you. So it's not about how you start. Make dua. Make dua, Allah allow you to die as a sincere Muslim. Because that's what matters. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم الله خير.
Assalamu alaikum. So, Jazakallah khairu Sheikh for this beautiful reminder. The Sheikh is not taking any questions, so we're free to go have dinner, inshallah. So please, dinner is ready. You can head downstairs. And a quick reminder, next Friday, we're having the graduation for our Sunday school. Because we have some activities for the kids and everything, the program is going to start at 5:30 next Friday. So if you can make it here a little early by 5:30, that will be very much appreciated, because we want to showcase what the kids have been doing every Sunday. We want to showcase that. So please show up early and witness that. And then because there are kids, a lot of kids involved, we're going to have dinner much early. We're going to have dinner at 7 o'clock so that the kids can have dinner before Maghrib. So that's what will happen next week. Please come here, bring your family, support the other families.